Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. The hardest battles are fought by those who are meant for something greater. For Sigma males, life isn't about following the crowd or seeking constant approval. It's about forging a path that's uniquely their own. They don't seek comfort. They don't crave validation. They thrive in the space where others shy away. And that's what makes their life so difficult. Being a Sigma male means constantly walking a fine line between survival and authenticity. The world doesn't always understand their quiet strength or their refusal to play by the rules. They're not interested in blending in, but that comes with a price. They're misunderstood, undervalued, and often left to navigate life without a clear roadmap. But here's the truth. The challenges Sigma males face aren't a weakness. They're a reflection of their strength. It's not about being a lone wolf for the sake of it. It's about choosing to stay true to themselves in a world that's constantly trying to force them into a box. So if you're a Sigma male reading this, know this. Your life is hard, but that's exactly why it's worth living. You're not meant to follow the easy path. The harder the journey, the more you grow, the stronger you become. Keep walking your own road. It's the one that will lead you to greatness. Number 1. They know the system is broken, but they still have to survive in it. Sigma males see straight through the nonsense. The fake smiles, the empty promotions, the endless small talk that leads nowhere. Yeah, they see it all. They know the system rewards conformity, not originality. It promotes the loud, not the wise. It hands power to manipulators and sidelines the thinkers. And for a man who values truth and self-respect, that's a daily mental battle. They hate playing along. They hate the office politics, the shallow networking events, the pressure to just fit in and smile. But they're not naive. They know full rebellion won't keep the lights on. Integrity doesn't pay rent. Honesty doesn't always feed your family. So they walk that razor-thin line every day, between staying true to themselves and doing what's necessary to survive. That's the quiet war no one sees, because while others fake it to make it, Sigma males carry the weight of knowing they could play the game better than most, but they choose not to. That silent resistance, it eats at them. Not because they regret being different, but because the world makes it so damn expensive to be real. And yet, they keep showing up. They pick their battles. They stay low-key, work smart, and guard their energy. They don't sell their souls, but they also don't broadcast their struggle. They move in silence, adapting just enough to get by without becoming something they hate. That takes a different kind of strength. Not loud, not flashy, but real. Because at the end of the day, they'd rather suffer for being authentic than succeed by becoming a fraud. So if you're walking that same line, trying to hold on to your integrity while surviving in a world that rewards masks, know this: you're not weak. You're one of the few with the guts to stay real. Keep going. The system may be rigged, but your soul isn't for sale. That's what makes you powerful. Number 2, they're seen as threats without even trying. Sigma males don't walk into a room trying to prove anything, but somehow their very presence shifts the energy. They're not loud, they're not flashy, and they're definitely not begging for attention. And that exactly is what rattles people, because in a world where most people scream to be noticed, the Sigma male says nothing and still gets noticed. That quiet confidence, it hits different. And for people who depend on being the center of attention to feel valuable, that's intimidating. They start wondering, why is he so calm? Why doesn't he need approval? What does he know that I don't? That's when the envy creeps in. That's when the subtle hostility starts. The Sigma isn't trying to compete, but people make him the competition anyway. Just by being secure in himself, he unintentionally exposes everyone who isn't. And let's be honest, most people don't like mirrors that reflect what they're trying to hide. He doesn't talk over people. He doesn't flex what he has. He doesn't even try to be mysterious. But because he moves differently, calm, focused, unbothered, others start to project their insecurities onto him. The result? He's labeled as arrogant, distant, or too serious. People try to provoke him just to get a reaction. They want to poke the lion because they can't handle how quietly powerful he is. But the Sigma male knows exactly what's going on. He's seen it all before. He doesn't fight back with noise, he holds his ground with silence. He doesn't lower himself to make others feel taller, he simply continues being who he is, unapologetically, and that right there is what makes him even more of a threat. Because real power doesn't need to be announced, it just is, and deep down, even his critics know it. Number 3. They're wired for truth, not comfort. Sigma males don't sugarcoat, they don't water things down to spare feelings. Not because they're trying to hurt anyone, but because they're allergic to lies, especially the comfortable ones people tell themselves to avoid reality. They say what people need to hear, not what they want to hear. And that's where the trouble starts. See, most people live in bubbles. Bubbles built on denial, ego, and convenience. So when a Sigma male walks in and calmly drops a truth bomb, without yelling, without emotion, just facts, it hits like a slap in the face. Not because he's wrong, but because he's right, and people aren't ready to face it. He tells a friend the relationship they're clinging to is toxic. He tells a coworker their grind is just performative noise. He calls out double standards, hypocrisy, or laziness, not to be rude, but because ignoring it would be fake. But that honesty comes at a cost. People cut him off. Jobs pass him over, opportunities dry up. All because he refuses to play along with the script. He doesn't flatter egos, doesn't fake agreement, and doesn't pretend everything's fine when it clearly isn't. And yet, he keeps telling the truth because it's who he is. He'd rather lose fake friends than keep them by lying. He'd rather miss out on a promotion than kiss up to someone he doesn't respect. That kind of integrity isn't convenient, but it's rare and powerful. Most can't handle it, but deep down, they respect it. Because while everyone else is playing a role, the Sigma is playing for truth, not for applause, not for approval, just for what's real. And that's why his words carry weight, even when they cost him everything. Number 4, they question everything, including themselves. Sigma males don't just study the world around them, they turn the same sharp lens inward. While most people are busy judging others or chasing trends, the Sigma male is locked in a private, never-ending conversation with himself, constantly asking, why did I say that? Was that really necessary? Am I staying true to who I am or slipping? It's deep, it's intense, and it never stops. That level of introspection is both a gift and a curse. On one hand, it makes him smarter, sharper, and incredibly self-aware. He sees through his own excuses. He catches his own patterns. He doesn't just talk about growth, he actually works through it piece by piece, even when no one's watching. But on the flip side, it's exhausting, because the Sigma doesn't just second-guess his decisions, he breaks them down, flips them over, and inspects every angle, every win, every loss, every word said in the heat of the moment. Nothing escapes his mental microscope. He can't help it. His mind is wired to dig beneath the surface, even when it leads to uncomfortable truths about himself. And let's be honest, most people run from that kind of self-examination, but not him. He stares it down. It's why he doesn't blame others easily, why he holds himself to a brutal standard, why he often looks calm on the outside but is waging war on the inside. He doesn't need external critics. He's already his own harshest one. But that's also what makes him strong. Because every time he tears himself apart, he rebuilds. Stronger, clearer, more grounded. And that quiet inner work? That's what sets him apart from the rest. So if he seems distant or lost in thought, he's not ignoring the world, he's refining himself. And that's a battle most people are too scared to even start. Number 5, they see patterns others ignore and can't unsee them. Most people walk through life half asleep, following scripts they didn't write and making choices they never questioned. But Sigma males, they notice things, little things, hidden motives, social games, power plays dressed up as politeness. And once they start seeing the patterns, they can't unsee them. It's like a switch gets flipped. They notice how people use guilt to control others. They see how trends are built to manufacture approval. They watch how the crowd shifts opinions, not because it makes sense, but because it's safer than standing out. To everyone else, it's just how the world works. But to a Sigma male, it's deeply disturbing. Because he can't just shrug and go along with the game. Not after he's seen the truth behind the curtain. And that truth? It sticks with him. It follows him into conversations, relationships, careers. He hears the hidden agendas in people's words. He spots the manipulation in what others call kindness. He recognizes when someone is trying to fit in by becoming a watered-down version of themselves, and it eats at him. He can't play dumb, even when it would be easier. He can't pretend not to see the cracks in the system, even when staying blind would make life smoother. And the hardest part, he often feels alone with this awareness. Try telling someone, "Hey, don't you see how fake this all is?" And they'll look at you like you're the problem. But the Sigma doesn't speak up to be liked. He stays quiet, observes, and moves differently, because once your eyes are open, there's no going back. The world wants comfort. He wants truth, and that comes with a price. Not just isolation, but the constant burden of clarity. Still, he'd rather see things as they are than live in a beautiful lie. Number 6. They attract people who want to fix them. There's something about Sigma males that pulls people in. Maybe it's the quiet confidence. Maybe it's the way they don't overshare. Maybe it's how they seem fine, completely fine, without needing anyone. But for some reason, that mystery gets misunderstood. It doesn't just attract curiosity. It attracts people who see them as a project. Some think he just needs the right person to open up. Others say, he's been hurt. Once he heals, he'll change. But here's the truth. He doesn't need fixing. He's not broken. He's built different. What looks like emotional distance is often just emotional discipline. What feels like mystery is really just a refusal to perform. What others label as cold is actually the result of choosing peace over chaos. Still, people try. They step into his life thinking they're going to be the one to unlock him. They want to crack the code, peel back the layers, and transform him into something more familiar, more typical. But when he doesn't bend, when he doesn't start chasing or changing or softening just to make them feel more comfortable, that's when the script flips. Suddenly he's emotionally unavailable. Suddenly he's hard to love. Suddenly he's too distant or too complicated. The irony? These people weren't interested in who he really was. They were obsessed with the version of him they imagined. And when reality didn't match their fantasy, they walked away, often blaming him for not becoming someone he never promised to be. But the Sigma male isn't here to be rebranded. He's not looking to be reshaped. He's not out here auditioning for approval. He knows who he is. And if that unsettles people, that's on them. Because when someone sees you as a puzzle to fix, not a person to respect, they were never really in it for you in the first place. Number 7, they struggle to find mentors or equals. For most people, it's exciting to be the smartest one in the room. For a Sigma male, it's exhausting. It means no real conversations, no pushback, no one who sharpens them. It's all surface level, predictable, and dull. This isn't about ego. It's not about feeling superior. It's about craving depth. Sigma males want to be challenged, not complimented. They want someone who can check their blind spots, stretch their thinking, and go toe-to-toe with their ideas, not just nod along. But finding that kind of person? Rare. Most people play it safe. They follow the script. They repeat what they've heard without ever digging deeper. And when the Sigma male starts asking real questions about truth, about purpose, about what actually matters, people either get defensive or completely lost, so they end up walking alone. Again. And here's the part that hurts. They want guidance. They'd love to sit across from someone wiser, someone who's been through the fire and came out sharper. But they don't settle for titles or hype. They look for substance, real wisdom, real depth. Too often, the people in leadership positions aren't built like that. They rely on status, not self-awareness. And the Sigma sees right through it. That's why many Sigma males become their own mentor. They read, they observe, they dissect life through brutal honesty. They become students of pain, growth, and silence because no one else is teaching it the way they need. But even then, the loneliness kicks in. Being unmatched isn't always a flex. It's a weight, a constant hunger for someone who gets it, someone who's not just smart, but real, someone who can walk beside them, not behind them. Sigma males aren't looking for fans. They're looking for equals, and until they find them, they'll keep sharpening themselves in the dark, quietly, relentlessly, unapologetically. Number 8, they outgrow people faster than they can replace them. Sigma males evolve fast. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they're always shedding old skins. And that kind of growth? It doesn't leave a lot of room for people who are just standing still, stuck in the same loops, clinging to comfort. At first, it's all good. They'll vibe with someone, connect on a few levels, maybe even think, this could last. But then time passes. Patterns emerge. The masks drop. And the Sigma starts to see that this person isn't growing, just orbiting the same place, saying the same things, living the same script. And here's where the Sigma makes a brutal decision. They walk away. Not out of arrogance, not out of coldness, but because staying in place for the sake of comfort feels like self-betrayal. Once someone shows their true colors, maybe they're draining, fake, manipulative, or just comfortable being mediocre, the Sigma doesn't waste energy trying to fix them. They detach, quietly, cleanly, no drama, just distance. But here's the hard part. They move on faster than they can replace, because finding people who actually match their pace of growth, who aren't afraid of change, who crave depth, who can challenge them without trying to control them, that's rare. Most people want stability. The Sigma wants evolution. Most want reassurance. The Sigma wants truth. Most want to fit in. The Sigma wants to break out. So yeah, they end up walking alone more often than not. Not because they're impossible to please, but because they refuse to shrink just to keep someone around. And while that solitude can sting, it also protects their power. Because the moment you stop outgrowing people just to keep the peace, you start losing yourself. Sigma males refuse to do that. They'd rather walk alone at full volume than sit quietly next to someone who stopped growing years ago. Number 9. They never feel truly understood. One of the hardest parts of being a Sigma male? Most people don't actually see them. They see an image, a surface, a vibe, and from that alone they either put them on a pedestal or label them as cold, intense, or too distant. It's wild, really. Some people admire them from afar, thinking they're some mysterious genius who's got it all figured out. Others misunderstand their quiet nature and think they're emotionally closed off, arrogant, or just weird. But rarely does someone take the time to dig beneath the layers, to see the real person behind the stillness, the one who's observant, thoughtful, deeply introspective, and sometimes even struggling quietly. The one who listens more than they speak, not because they don't care, but because they're processing on a different level. And here's the truth. The Sigma male's mind is complex. They live in the gray areas. They question everything, including themselves. They don't perform. They don't explain themselves to everyone. They don't make their pain look poetic or their wisdom flashy. So it's no surprise that most people just miss them. They either try to define them too quickly or lose patience because the Sigma doesn't fit their usual social template. This leads to a quiet kind of loneliness, not from lack of people, but from lack of connection. Because what's more painful than being around others and still feeling unseen? It's not that Sigma males want attention, far from it. They just want to be understood without being misread, idolized, or fixed. But because that rarely happens, they retreat even further. They become their own safe space, their own therapist, their own compass. And that's what makes them strong, but also misunderstood. To truly get a Sigma male, you have to stop projecting and start listening. Not just with your ears, but with patience, presence, and depth. And unfortunately, most people aren't built for that kind of seeing. Number 10. They see freedom as a necessity, not a luxury. For most people, freedom is something nice to have, something you dream about on weekends or during long meetings. But for a Sigma male, freedom is oxygen. It's non-negotiable. It's how they breathe, think, grow, and exist. That's why they avoid anything that smells like control. They're allergic to being micromanaged. They shut down when someone tries to box them in, whether it's a clingy relationship, a soul-crushing job, or a social group that expects blind loyalty. The Sigma male doesn't want to be owned, not by expectations, not by rules that don't make sense, not by people who confuse attachment with control. They need space, mental, emotional, and physical, space to think, space to question, space to decide what matters on their own terms. But here's the price they pay. Society doesn't reward that kind of independence. Society rewards those who play along, blend in, and do what's expected. So while everyone else is climbing the ladder, checking the boxes, and collecting approval, The Sigma male is choosing freedom over comfort, growth over security, authenticity over popularity. And that path, it's lonely. It's unstable. It doesn't come with trophies or applause. But it's real. And that's what the Sigma lives for. Not the illusion of success, but the truth of being fully in control of their own life. Still, there are days it hurts. Watching others get praised for fitting in while you get labeled difficult just for wanting your space. Watching people misunderstand your silence as coldness, when really it's clarity. But here's the twist. The Sigma male would rather lose comfort than lose themselves. Because once you've tasted real freedom, no job, no partner, no system can bribe you back into the cage. They weren't built to follow. They were built to roam. Number 11. They think he's not ambitious because he doesn't follow their definition of success. They believe that ambition is measured by flashy titles, hefty bank accounts, or the constant applause of the crowd. In this view, success is all about climbing the corporate ladder, owning the latest gadgets, and plastering your achievements on social media. But for a Sigma male, success is defined on his own terms. He isn't chasing after the markers of success that society lays out for everyone else. Instead, his ambitions are quieter, deeper, and far more personal. The Sigma male's drive isn't about collecting accolades or proving himself to others. He's focused on growth that matters, self-improvement, mastering his craft, and carving out a path that reflects his unique values. To those around him, his lack of visible ambition in the conventional sense might seem like a lack of drive. They wonder why he isn't chasing that promotion or flaunting his latest achievements. But what they fail to see is that his journey is internal and nuanced. He measures his success not by the number of likes or the size of his paycheck, but by how aligned his life is with his core principles. Every decision he makes is a step towards becoming the best version of himself, even if that journey isn't accompanied by public fanfare. While the world rushes to tick boxes on a checklist of material milestones, he takes his time, ensuring that each step is meaningful and true to his purpose. This alternative form of ambition is often misunderstood. People expect ambition to be loud and obvious. When they don't see the traditional signs, big titles, expensive cars, or endless networking, they quickly label his ambition as non-existent. Yet, his inner drive is a constant pursuit of knowledge, freedom, and authenticity. In a way, his lack of conformity is what makes him truly ambitious. He dares to define success for himself rather than accepting someone else's blueprint. In a society that's obsessed with external markers, the Sigma male's journey is a refreshing reminder that real ambition is about finding fulfillment in your own terms, even if it means walking a path that no one else understands. In conclusion, the life of a Sigma male isn't easy, and it's never meant to be. They don't choose the hard path because it's glamorous or romanticized. They choose it because they know the truth. It's the path of self-discovery, of independence, of constantly battling against the grain of society's expectations. And yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's challenging. But this is where real growth happens. Sigma males don't want to be comfortable. They want to be tested. They don't chase validation because they've already learned to validate themselves in ways others never will. So to all the Sigma males out there, don't ever let the world's misunderstanding of your silence make you feel small. The struggle is part of your strength. The isolation is part of your clarity. You see things others miss, and you feel things others can't fathom. That's your gift, not your burden. Don't let the noise of the world drown out your inner voice. You were never meant to follow the crowd, and that's exactly why your path feels different. It's yours. Trust it. Walk it. Your life may be harder than most, but it's because you're not playing by their rules. You're carving your own, and that's the hardest and most rewarding thing anyone can do. Keep going. Stay true to yourself. Let the world catch up. You're the one who's creating your own success, not chasing someone else's. Thank you for watching. God bless you.